Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bookmakers Reviews coverage of an absorbing Serie A season. I'm your host, Martin Green. I have Matt Lawerence alongside me. How did we do at the weekend, Matt?
Can you hear me now? Sorry. We did amazing, actually, Martin.
Sorry,
Nine and
Matt.
one. Um, and yeah, I'm on a seven and 0 streak right now in Serie A, so it feels really good. Just trying to hand out more gifts before Christmas.
A 7-0 streak. That is tremendous, Matt Lawrence. That is the exact same winning streak that Liverpool Football Club are on right now. And it's better than the 6-game winning streak that Atalanta are on. Atalanta now second favourites to win Serie A, just 3 points behind Inter at the top of the table. Inter have won 5 in a row too. So those teams are starting to pull away a little bit. And Napoli and AC Milan have really faltered in recent weeks. But the entertainment has just come in thick and fast. Loads of high scoring games, just so many great goals, late comebacks. It's such a wonderful league, and we're blessed to have so many great games to watch every weekend. Looking forward to breaking these all down with you right about now. So let's start with Lazio versus Genoa. What's been your impression of Lazio, Matt? I mean, they're very good going forwards, but leaking goals and the results just aren't coming in. Do you think they can get the better of Genoa?
Yeah, I think that they're, kind of a mid-table side, really. I mean, maybe they can sneak into the Europa League places. They just don't. They're giving up too many goals. I mean, they're conceding an average of 1.88 goals this season in Serie A. So they've really got to shore up the defense. Obviously the manager left in the summer to go manage Milan, but Inter that is. But yeah, I mean, Lazio are still a strong home side, and they generally, Martin, do extremely well against Genoa. 17 goals by Lazio in the last six head-to-heads in Serie A versus Genoa. They've scored in every single one of them. They've put up four spots. They've three times. They've had three. I mean, they normally do extremely well in this fixture. So, Friday night it's going to be kind of rocking there in Rome, and so for me in this one, I have put Lazio team total over 1.5 in a double parlay. So for me, I just think that they're leaking goals. I don't really want to get involved in them like on the money line or really in any way, just other than their offense because they're of how many goals they concede. And Genoa are in really bad form. I would be shocked if they got a result here, but still just kind of not complicating it really and just going team total Lazio over 1.5 makes sense to me.
Yeah, I like that, Matt. That sounds good. Genoa concede exactly 2 goals per game, coming up against still an elite attack in Lazio. Ciro Immobile and the players that he's got around him. Milinkovic-Savic is very creative. Yeah, I can see them scoring at least 2 goals in this one. Does look like a great addition to a parlay. I left this because I've just been, underwhelmed with the inconsistency of Lazio's results. But on the day, I think they'll pick up a win. It's just where do you find the value? And I did find lower hanging fruit, which brings me to the mighty Salernitana coming up against Inter Milano. Like I said, Inter on a 5-game winning streak right now. Absolutely terrific. The real well, not the turning point, but a real symbolic win for them was that 3-2 against Napoli, where they came from behind. Since then, they haven't conceded a single goal, 4 wins to 0, which is just phenomenal. Salernitana, they're bottom of the table. They've only scored 1 goal in 8 games. And that came against Cagliari, who are also really struggling. So you've got the worst attack coming up against an elite defence and the best attack in Serie A. Doesn't sound good for Salernitana, Matt.
No, it doesn't. I mean, Inter are in fantastic form right now. They are just getting it done. And I think that we touched on it last week. I mean, I think that they're the clear favorites. And that was, when they were in third place, when we were kind of saying that now they've jumped up to first and they're looking really strong. 28 goal differential towards the positive, and then you look towards Salernitana, a negative 26 goal differential. So there is a gulf in class here. And so this was my second piece of the parlay. I'm gone with Inter team total over 1.5. I just think that they should be able to score if they're in the right mood, they should be able to easily score two, if not more. I mean, I think that you could look towards Inter, team total over 2.5 if you just want to play it as a singles. I think that halftime, full time makes some sense, but the price isn't that great, and that's why I've kind of left that one. But all 5 of Inter's last matches have seen them win both halftime and full time, and Salernitana, they have 3 consecutive losses at halftime, full time. So they're not jumping out to a good start in the first 45, and Inter will probably be able to take advantage of that.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Matt. It would be very surprising if Inter didn't put a few past Salernitana in this game. I've just gone for Inter to win to nil at -111 because I've just been impressed with their defensive solidity in recent weeks. It wasn't really there at the start of the season. I guess it was always going to take Simone Inzaghi a bit of time to pick up where Antonio Conte left off, but they're playing really well, really solid at the moment. I expect them to dominate this game against a weak Salernitana side. And they've got a bigger squad. They can rotate players. I can see them winning this one without conceding. But if you did want a different angle, yeah, Inter to win and over 2.5, Inter and over 3.5 wouldn't put you off that. Or to cover like a -2 handicap, I can see them as well. Just however you decide to play it, I think it's going to be a pretty comfortable away win for Inter in this game. Coming up next, we have Atalanta against Roma. Atalanta, like I said, are on that 6-game winning streak. They have been absolutely terrific. Roma, decent at home, not so good on the road, Matt. 5 defeats from 8 away trips. All points to an Atalanta win for me. What do you think?
Yes, I agree. I think that Atalanta should get the better of Roma here. They're just really, to me, they're better at every position when you look at the 11s. I mean, I think that there's nothing that Roma do that Atalanta can't do. In this one, 5 out of the last 6 head-to-heads. I know that some of that is before the Jose Mourinho era, but I mean, even last season, both teams to score, yes, came in both head-to-heads. And I have combined that in a parlay. Again, it's like around -175. So I thought it was a decent parlay piece. I think as a singles play, I think this is a really good one. I'll probably throw a little sprinkle on this as both teams to score and Atalanta to win. I can find that price here in a second. But yeah, I think that one makes a ton of sense to me.
Okay, great. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, the odds just on a straight Atalanta win are pretty attractive. There's a fair bit of juice to go for, but if you squeeze it, I think they will win. I've gone for Atalanta to win the game and over 1.5 goals in said game. I've got +100 on that. I think you get a pretty good price on Atalanta because people still respect Jose Mourinho. You're never going to see a team really heavy favourite against a side managed by Mourinho, but he hasn't really had time to stamp his authority on this squad. He hasn't had the money to bring in the players that he would like to. And I just think Atalanta are a much more complete team. Gasperini's been in charge of that group for a long time now, and they're a real slick, effective unit. I think they'll be too strong for Roma in this game. I can easily see it going over 1.5 goals. So that's my play. Okay. Next up, we have Bologna versus Juventus. Pretty impressed with Bologna, I have to say. Every time I've watched them, they've been bright, they've been positive. Arnautovic been holding the ball up well. Good pace down the flanks. Looks like a tough game for Juventus to me. I'm sick of betting on Juventus. They always let you down. I think they're best to pass, really, at the moment. So I'm leaving this one alone. Do you have anything, Matt?
So I've gone with Juventus double chance here. I actually think that they win the game. When you look at it's the head-to-head history. I mean, the last 6 head-to-heads, I've seen Juventus win, and you're finding a price here around even money. It's just one of those trends that I really cannot pass up. I think that Juventus, yes, last week was very disappointing against Venezia. And they've had those disappointing results. I mean, when you're looking at how they lost to Verona a few weeks ago and Chelsea. But I still think and I believe that Juventus are going to be trending up here soon. They're a team that I will be wanting to back. I don't think that I want to back them in a huge favorite role to cover a handicap. But this is a different type of match. It's on the road. It's fairly priced around that even money. So I've just extended it out there. Look, they haven't been beaten. They haven't even drawn against Bologna in their last 6. So double chance for me is combined with that Atalanta Roma parlay.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks very much, Matt. As I say, I'm passing this one, but I can't see Juventus losing the game. So that's pretty good addition to a parlay. I think a double chance. Just a bit concerned that they will draw. So yeah, I like that approach. Okay, next up we're going to go to Cagliari versus Udinese. Cagliari not having a great season at all. As I mentioned, they are really struggling. They're down near the foot of the table. They're 19th, only won once in 17 games. It's not looking great. But Udinese haven't won for a long time either. They do have a habit of drawing with some big teams, but yeah, this isn't a game I like the look of at all. Do you have anything for this one, Matt?
It's a disappointing result last week when you're looking at Udinese. They had that 1-0 lead over AC Milan, and luckily Ibra pulls something out of the hat, and I end up cashing the both teams to score there late, which was awesome. But Udinese were far the better side. Milan are a team that I'm going to want to pick on, I think, here in the coming weeks. I just don't think they look nearly as strong as what they did in the beginning of the season. I think when matches come up thick and fast, that they don't have the squad depth to be able to handle it. But back to this one, I mean, I think that Udinese score, when you're looking at Cagliari, the last 6 home matches for Cagliari, both teams to score has landed. Both teams to score right now is priced at minus 135 area. That is where I would be going here. I want to be with the road side, if anything. I think that like both teams to score, yes, draw no bet, Udinese, those two make sense to me, but I have left it. I thought that there was lower hanging fruit as well, and it's a good card, and I just didn't want to force this one. But if I had to, I think both teams to score, yes, would be the best look.
Okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. Thanks, Matt. Cagliari are a weak defence, but they do show a bit of ambition going forward, which makes them quite fun to watch. So let's see if they can beat the drop. Yeah, don't really like that one too much though. Love the next game: Fiorentina versus Sassuolo. Sassuolo, right? Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals has paid off in Sassuolo's last 11 games. 11 games running. The artist formerly known as Alex Classic has come in. That never happens in world football. Can't defend, great going forwards. Coming up against the Fiorentina side that are on fire in front of goal. Dusan Vlahovic is the top scorer in Serie A now. They won 4-0 last time out against our friends Salernitana, but BTTS and over 2.5 came in their previous 4 matches. This is just a slam dunk for me, Matt. Both teams to score over 2.5 goals. Are you with me?
Oh, I'm with you. This was the first one. I don't even have to dive into this anymore, Martin. It's like you just look at the teams and it's like, okay, this is getting hit. 1.8, a completely fair price on this. I don't really have to add much more. I mean, Sassuolo, they're a team that I've bet on. Their team total, both teams are scoring over 2.5 the last few weeks. It just keeps coming in. And it's like Great of Firth, Martin. You just, even if it loses next week, I'm still going back to it again. And you'll see that maybe here in about 45 minutes when we talk about the Bundesliga. But yeah, for me here, this is clear cut. Sassuolo, they're an over team. They score goals. Fiorentina, they're an over team. They score goals. Both defenses, not so great. This is about as easy as it gets.
What happened to Union Berlin? How did they lose to Greuther Fürth? I know we're going to get to that, but that was just absolutely shocking from Union Berlin. I did get back on it though. I bet on Dortmund minus 2.5 in midweek, and they won 3-0. I couldn't handle the Viking Erling Haaland. Yeah, we'll get to Fürth. Let's hope they revert to type and start losing again maybe they'll go on another 12-game losing streak. Who knows? Let's hope so. Next up, we have Spezia versus Empoli. Again, this looks like 2 pretty evenly matched teams in the bottom half of the table to me. Couldn't find anything that appealed. What about you, Matt? Have you got anything on Spezia Empoli?
Yeah, so in this one for me, I think that it's a tough one. I decided to leave it. Empoli are in a good way though right now. I mean, they haven't been beaten in 6 of 7. They're scoring enough goals to be able to collect points, and it's really as simple as that. And I mean, a lot of their matches, when you look on the road, both teams to score and over 2.5 has come in 6 of 7. The only one is when they were able to shut up shop against Napoli and won 1-0 on the road.
Yeah.
So for me here, I think that I would be leaning towards Empoli, but not really wanting to get involved. I would just be looking towards another Serie A goals market. I think that both teams to score makes sense here. And it's come in between these two. This was in the second division, kind of dating back a few years ago, but it's come in the head-to-head. They played each other a decent amount from 2017 to 2020, and both teams to score landed a lot there. Really can't factor that in for this match. But when you're looking at Empoli on the road, matches tend to be up and down. Both teams are creating chances. This has got to be both teams to score for me.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks. At this time of year, I guess a lot of defenders are getting injured. Smaller teams with smaller squads start to struggle. But yeah, they might have a bit more depth in attack and some players wanting to make a name for themselves. So yeah, we have been seeing a lot of high-scoring games, haven't we? So that does look like a good shout. Next up, we have Torino versus Verona. Verona are kind of the kings of high-scoring games, aren't they? Yes, they lost 2-1 to Atalanta last weekend, which was good because went for Atalanta to win that one. But they are just an extremely entertaining team. Get the stats for you. Both teams to scores paid off in 14 out of 17 Verona games so far this season. That's a record that they share with Sassuolo, who we've already discussed. Just a really entertaining team. Commit loads of men forward, terrible at the back, leave loads of gaps, loads of high-scoring games. It's just great stuff. Torino aren't quite like that, are they, Matt? They're a bit more conservative, but they've got firepower. I can see them scoring in this game. So, yeah, I've just got both teams to score. What are you doing? Are you doing both teams to score?
Both teams to score. And then just wanted to go back to that Spezia match. So that both teams to score is at like 1.5. So that, yeah, I would be looking towards the both teams scoring over 2.5 there. The Alex Classic, if because that doesn't really have much value, or both teams to score in a parlay. But coming to this one, I'm singing from the same song. Both teams to score -143. Torino have been a team that they don't get involved in these high-scoring matches, but they're able to normally find the back of the net, and they normally concede. And we know that Verona on the road, I mean, they get involved in these up-and-down matches. Their defense isn't that great. I would be looking on a side. This was one of the sides that did kind of stick out to me a little bit. I'm surprised that Verona are this big when they score so many goals, and Torino don't score as many, in a sense. Like, I would rather be getting involved with the road side here on a double chance, on a plus a quarter Asian handicap, something like that. That makes sense to me. But yes, both teams to score -143. Count me in on this one. And when you look at it, the last 6 head-to-heads, both teams to score has landed.
Perfect. It's all set up for us. Let's hope you can continue this 7-match winning streak, and we can keep building up this record, because we're in great profit for Serie A this season. I am loving Serie A. Okay, next up we have Sampdoria versus Venezia. Sampdoria are a good team, good going forward. Venezia are a team I can't quite work out. I do like them a lot, the way they play. They picked up some good results against some big teams recently, but they are unpredictable and they're difficult to handicap. Did you find anything on this one, Matt?
I didn't. I left this one. I would be with the road or the home side here, but Venezia have pulled off some shockers every now and then. I think that Sampdoria should have too much, though. -125. That is the only way I can look. It's home team or pass here for me. Not a ton of, really trends or data for me to look into this. I mean, Sampdoria, though, their last 6 Serie A matches, they've conceded at home. So both teams' score has landed. Over 2.5 goals comes in regularly when they're at home. So maybe you're looking at like a Sampdoria team total over 1.5. Maybe stay away from the winner's market. Just say this team, they've been scoring goals. They normally score 1. They score twice a lot as well. So that's maybe the way I'd look, and just kind of not back their defense. Something along those lines. But yeah, the home side looks good.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, as I say, I've passed this one. Couldn't find anything particularly grabbing me. Okay, the final game is the biggest game of the weekend. I mean, these two both came flying out of the blocks, made a blistering start to the season, and they were level at the top of the table with virtually impeccable records. The wheels have come off for both teams in quite spectacular fashion in recent weeks. Injuries have thwarted Napoli. And I guess, like you said, a lack of squad depth has maybe been AC Milan's issue. And they've got a lot of young players. Perhaps quite a lot of pressure comes with playing so many games at this time of year. They've also had their injury concerns. Both teams now are kind of in danger of falling behind Inter and Atalanta in the table. So what do you make of this one? Can you go for the outrights, or are you sticking to a different type of market?
I'm sticking to both teams to score here. It's not one of my favorites, but I do think that it needs to be added. And when you're looking at a side here, Martin, I don't understand this price really. Why are Napoli this big? I mean, it's shortened too. I think yesterday, Milan were more towards, plus 110. Now it's backtracking to plus 125. That makes total sense to me. If you got in early, you were on the right side, because there's no way that Napoli should be this big, even though they're in bad form. I've watched Milan a decent amount here in the last month or so, and they just don't seem like they're clicking enough. I'm surprised that they're this price. I could only be looking towards Napoli here if you're wanting me to pick a side as a dog, plus a quarter, double chance in a parlay, something like that. I would want to be getting with the roadside. But again, I just think that both teams to score between these two, it normally comes in their head-to-heads 3 out of the last 4. I don't trust Milan's defense, and I think that this one, could maybe take a while. This is one where I don't necessarily like the overs, but I like both teams to score. It's one of those weird ones. But yeah, for me here, yeah, BTTS, yes. I'm in on this one again.
Yeah, I can't really trust either of these teams at the moment. I can't trust Napoli, that lost 1-0 to Empoli last weekend. Injuries really are taking their toll on this team, and they don't have fantastic squad depth either, really. AC Milan, to be honest, I always thought AC Milan's results were better than their actual performances suggested, or the level of quality within their squad. So I'm not overly surprised that they've started slipping up a little bit. I just couldn't play this game at all. I have to pass this one, despite it being the most entertaining game of the weekend. Yeah, I probably would also be leaning towards Napoli if I had to. AC Milan beat Napoli 3-1 last season, but that was their first win in 12 games against Napoli. Napoli really seems to have their number.
That's a good point. Yeah. Milan scored, by the way, Martin. They've scored at least 1 goal in their last 18 Serie A matches. So they find the score sheet, and I'm pretty confident that Napoli have enough firepower still, even with some of these injuries, to be able to find the back of the net. That's kind of my thought process there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, have to go with the goals if you're going to go for anything on this game, I think. I think you're right. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Matt. Let's go over to the wizard, please. Could you bring up our picks? We'll read out what we're going for in Serie A this weekend. So I've got Inter win to 0, minus 111. I think me and Matt have got some of the same picks, but I put mine through yesterday and he put his through today. So some of the odds are a tiny bit different. I've got Fiorentina versus Sassuolo, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at minus 120. I've got Atalanta and over 1.5 goals at plus 100, even money. And I've got both teams to score in the Torino versus Verona game at minus 130.
So, Martin, I did send them last night on my time, but that was morning for you. So that's like that perfect 6-hour gap where different days where they were received. But no, that's funny. Yeah, I think we're singing from the same song on a few of these. I think that Fiorentina, Sassuolo, both teams to score over 2.5 at minus 125 makes the most sense in the world. I think that's probably the best look on the card. Torino, Verona, both teams to score yes, minus 125. Milan, Napoli, both teams to score yes, minus 143. Inter, Lazio, both basically team totals over 1.5 parlay for me on a Friday night at -120, and Atalanta, Roma, both teams to score, and Juventus double chance against Bologna at +100 parlay.
Like it. Thanks very much, Matt. Thank you to the Wizard, and thank you everyone for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. We've been breaking down Serie A, and we're going to be back in 35 minutes time to talk about Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, and Greuther Fürth. Can't wait to see you all in 35 minutes, guys. Thanks. Goodbye.